Welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about this one. So this is The Magic of Food, Legends, Lore, and Spellcraft by Scott Cunningham. Now this one I had bought used years ago, but one of the fun things when you do buy used is you get little treasures. I got a handwritten note. It was written when I was 1 in 1997 by Wonderful Woman Wendy. Or it's to Wonderful Woman Wendy by Lisa for her birthday. Lisa thought that Wendy was gonna love this book. I don't know if Wendy died and it got donated, if she ended up not liking this. I don't know, but it's just one of those fun things. They've marked up some parts of this and it's like, huh, it's interesting what stands out to other people. But anyways, the moral of this book, the big premise, it talks a little bit about how to use food magic and just kind of some basic premise stuff. And then the bulk of this book is going over various ingredients, and it just has it kind of depends. Some of them have like history and then magical uses, and sometimes it just jumps into the magical uses. There's not a whole lot of like backstory to them. And there's a few recipes scattered throughout the book. And then of course there's the notorious appendix in the back for kind of quick reference stuff. So thing with this book is honestly I'm right on the fence. I can't decide one way or the other. And the big reason is that, like all books by Scott Cunningham, it's very well researched. For the most part, you can find a majority of the stuff that you're looking for. It's definitely more like kind of ingredients based, and it doesn't have every single food item, which is kind of a pain. But if you want to look up like a specific item, like what's the magical uses for a carrot, it's probably going to have that in there. However, with that said, I don't know that I would recommend this book for like a specific group of people in general. If you struggle with the mentions of like weight, diets, like weight loss, stuff like that, and that's like a very triggering topic for you, do not buy this book. Do not go near this book. It is not worth the information you're going to find in here. And the other thing is that Scott Cunningham is extremely biased in certain ways that's like, why? And honestly, I think it comes down to his generation and what he was raised, because I'm pretty sure Scott would fall into the boomer generation. He was born in the 50s, and so by now he'd be like 60s to 70s if he was still alive. And so because of that, the stuff he mentions here, it's just like some random just random little stuff that's just kind of like, ooh, you wouldn't say that nowadays. Like, just, you know, little diet things that they mention here and there, and it's like, but no. Like, we handle it a lot more differently now. We're a lot more aware that, like, a person's weight does not equate to their health status. Those are two different things. Multiple medications make it a challenge to be slim and skinny, and honestly, I mean, there were so many people in that generation's lifetime that used a lot of drugs to maintain a slimness that is not realistic. And like, we're just getting to a point in society that, like, I mean, obviously not everywhere, but a lot of places are starting to argue against it. We have celebrities that aren't a toothpick anymore. We've got plenty, like Lizzo. She is not a skinny girl and is happily showing that you can still be fit and active and still be big. Like, the two are not synonymous. Like, it's fine. And there's plenty of other examples. She's just the first one that came to my mind. But like, just the way he talks about it, it's like, ooh. And then he's also got other like really random biases too, that again, I think was really getting popular in the 90s, and I think it just kind of slipped into this book. For example, like, one of them was that you needed to have like fresh garlic, because if you have like freeze-dried or dehydrated and like in the bottle garlic, it's not the same and it has no magical use at all. And I'm like, I call bull, because it works. And you know what? If you can over season with it, you can use it magically, is the way I view that. And he has a real thing against fast food, and I'm like, dude, listen, is it the healthiest option? Probably not. However, that food still counts as food. Like, I don't know. And it was just, like, you think about it and I'm like, really, how different is it if I go to like a sit-down restaurant or I go to a drive-thru, or I make something at home, realistically, or like you go eat at somebody's house and they've like home cooked it, realistically, nobody in any of those situations is going to be doing any magical intention when they're cooking your food. Their mind is somewhere else. Like probably listening to a podcast, an audiobook, chit-chatting with coworkers, whatever. And it's when you get the food in front of you and it's still food. Like, it's fine. Sure, does it have extra grease? And probably not the healthiest option, probably. But, like, I can guarantee you, like, there could be a whole discussion on, like, the magic of Starbucks coffees. Is it a healthy option? No. And, like, I don't know, it's just little stuff like that he just has this bias that it's, like, it's a little jarring for a Cunningham book that I really didn't anticipate. And he gives you a lot of ideas of how to incorporate stuff, which is good. Like, I've never thought about making a square pie, and it's one of the things he talks about, and it really makes me question a lot of, like, okay, like, to have, like, a prosperity pie, it needs to be square. That feels like we're going against the grain harder than the people who say you shouldn't go counterclockwise in magic. I don't know that I would really recommend this, but it's not that bad of a book. Like, it's not the worst thing ever written. We have some bad books. It's not a banished books list book, but it also has, like, some dated information and, like, dated ideas about things, because nowadays, like, we don't typically focus that much on, like, diet culture and, like, oh, you need to lose weight, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. A lot of us just acknowledge, like, there's a time and a place for that conversation, and most of the time, we shouldn't be involved in that. It should be between you and your healthcare providers and, like, a nutritionist or a dietitian or somebody who knows about food and the body and, like, medical conditions that are gonna, you know, those people need to be involved. Not necessarily like a witchcraft author, you know? And, like, even then, like, if you go to an herbalist, it should be, like, more for, like, the health side of, I don't know. Like, that's where it gets really, like, of a gray area. So, dead center in the middle. I don't know that I would recommend it. This review is all over the place. I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. There's not a whole lot of people talking about it, and I think it might have gotten a name change over the years. But yeah, I would love to hear from you guys about this one in the comments down below. Huge thank you to my patrons. I'll have their names here on the screen. If you'd like to support me and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. Make sure to like and subscribe. I post every single day, and until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.